Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tilting Ground Untitled Notre Dame USC Football Podcast. I'm USC fan Michael Muto here with Notre Dame expert Greg Pamong. Greg, how was bowl selection Sunday for you?
It was good. It was good. I took it in on Twitter because I refused to do the thing with ESPN and give them the ratings for their monstrosity and
Yeah,
their
it was a
ridiculousness.
tough watch.
Yeah, man, I'm not even going to indulge them in that. I'm finding out on Twitter. I don't want to watch them. I don't want to hear their opinions. I don't care about their opinion. I don't want to hear them. So I took it in on Twitter. We were playing with the kids, and it worked out pretty good. I'm in a pretty good mood about it. I've rebounded nicely from last weekend's
Well, yeah,
devastation.
you had a week off from Notre Dame football,
I
so
did.
that had to help.
It did. It did. Like midweek, I will. Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I was pretty much like, I don't care. I don't want to talk about football anymore. Football season ended, like against Miami, November 11th. I don't. But now, like as the week went on, I started to come around a little bit, and now I'm all in on the bowl game.
Good to have you back.
Oh yeah, big time.
So I guess let's start with a little bit of today's news, then we'll backtrack to Friday, and then we'll go forward again. I
That
guess
seems right.
is the most logical way to do this.
Seems right.
So the selection, like Greg said, the selection show was today, Sunday morning, and I watched it because I'm a sucker, and they had can't reporters at USC, so I was like, oh man, if they didn't have the reporters there, I wouldn't have watched,
Mm.
and because I guess since SC was the Pac-12 champion, which we'll get to later, they just assumed they kind of had to do it for equal coverage. I don't know, and then everyone kept talking about Ohio State. I felt like I don't know. I don't know what I thought watching the top four selection. I knew it wasn't going to happen, but I felt like I had to watch just in case something crazy happened.
Well, there was some people on Twitter last night talking about like, why isn't USC involved in this? And then I saw someone say, well, they're going to pick USC because no one expects it, and like the committee does dumb things all the time. It would make people most upset. So it's the logical thing to do.
I mean, I kind of thought that might happen. I kind of talked myself into if they could pick Ohio State, they could pick USC. Like, what's the real difference?
Well, I didn't
Uh,
understand how they would get. How do you get past? How do you? How do they get past Ohio State? That's what I
uh,
didn't.
yeah, but I don't know. Ohio State lost to Iowa. I guess
I
is the
know,
only
I
thing.
know, but like they were rated ahead of USC after that.
Go, yeah, going into the championship round.
Yeah, so and then they won against number 4. So I mean, how do you like how I was like
I
I
don't
don't
know.
understand how USC jumps to Ohio State. Like it was
But
not
I don't know
possible.
how Ohio State jumps Alabama. So
Well, there's a case for that in my
I
opinion.
I don't know.
I mean, what do
I
you
was
so
pretty
you go
convinced
ahead.
Alabama was going to be there.
I was convinced too. Like I'm not a lot of people have a lot of strong opinions. Like if Tim was here, he'd probably go for 20 minutes about how it's an injustice or whatever. But or I think he'd like the top 4. But like I don't whatever. Like it's not it's like Ohio State. They were in it last year, and Alabama is in it every year. So whatever. It's a blue blood school getting in over another blue blood school. Like whatever. I don't care.
All right,
My best friend, like
good.
one of my best girlfriends who loves Ohio State. She didn't even want him in it, so like she was happy.
That's great.
She was rooting against Ohio State making it, and her husband was rooting like staunchly for it. And she was like telling me how mad at him she was that he thought they even had a chance.
I
So
mean, that's something ridiculous you would do. I don't. You got to root for your team to make it. Even I was rooting for SC to make it, even though I don't think they could beat a couple of those teams.
yeah, no, I told her like you're the only fan in the world who's rooting against
Yeah,
her team right now. So, but I think she felt the scars from last year because she was against Ohio State making it last year. and she was talking about them going to the game. And I was like, you got to go to the game. And she's like, I'm not going to that game. They're going to get crushed. And she was correct.
I mean, was it the Big Ten hasn't scored a point in a college football playoff game in 2 years?
Yeah, something like that.
So,
yeah.
So it won't happen this year. So that's
no,
3.
It won't. So,
anyways, all right.
fine.
So how did USC get in a position to be talked about to make the college football playoff? Well, on Friday night, they became the first team in the Pac-12 South to win the Pac-12 championship and defeated Stanford. So USC is Pac-12 champs.
It's kind of boring, right?
It's super boring.
It's
you
boring.
know, I'm coming in hot. Like, I'm so mad. I'm so mad right now.
What are you mad about?
When I started the season, everyone get on me if you want. I said USC would go undefeated.
You did.
And the only game I worried about on the schedule was Notre Dame. Actually, I take that back. I didn't even worry about Notre Dame.
You did not worry about Notre Dame.
I thought once the season started, I did. But I didn't think Brandon Wimbush would be a good quarterback, so I didn't think Notre Dame would be a good team. So I thought it was an easy schedule that they should go 10, 10-0, 12-0, whatever it's supposed to be. And they blew it. They go into Washington State on a Friday night and lose and blow it. They could have been in the college football playoff with this, ho-hum team that's just whatever. And if they had a little more consistency, just a hair more consistency, they would be in the college football playoff. And it's just stupid that they wasted all these good players, Sam Darnold, Ronald Jones, and an easy schedule, and they couldn't even get into the college football playoff. They had a cakewalk scenario to get in. That's why I'm mad, Greg. They just wasted. It was just wasted.
They basically had 3 games. They had Stanford, they had Washington State, and they had Notre Dame.
Yep.
They had to traverse. And really and they could have dropped one of those too.
Yeah, they just had to go 2-1 in those 3 games.
Yeah.
And they couldn't do it.
And they went 1-2 instead.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much.
That's why I'm mad.
I mean, but Notre Dame was in the same boat too,
Well, but at least Notre Dame fell apart.
But they had a lot more games that they needed to traverse. I mean, you could call. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think NC State at the time, depending on how you feel about Michigan State. I mean, Michigan State is about the caliber of Washington State, and I was on the road, so you could call it 5. So Notre Dame went what? They went 2-3.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
So yeah, but Notre Dame
fell
apart.
Notre Dame fell apart. Yes, but they also didn't. They also weren't ranked like whatever they were preseason either.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a waste. It's just a waste of this down Pac-12 year, the easy schedule, good players.
They didn't have to play Oregon.
Yeah, didn't have to play Oregon. Didn't have to play Washington.
Didn't have to play Oregon. Didn't have to play Washington. That's the one. Washington not having to play them.
Yeah. And it's like, well, guess what happened? Lost 2 games. And, they shouldn't have won Notre Dame because that was a blowout. So that happens. But they totally should have won Washington State. Like, what did you think was going to happen when you go up to the Palouse on a Friday night?
Yeah.
Like, everyone's joking around and players are running into each other, getting pregame concussions. Like, come on. Come on, man. Anyways, enough about that.
Your boy Ryan Abraham was on fire today.
Yeah? I've been off the Twitter today.
Is that true?
Yeah, I haven't really looked at Twitter today.
Oh my goodness. He came in with some takes that I couldn't even believe.
Well, tell me. I'd love to.
He was talking about USC needs to consider going independent.
Just leaving the Pac-12?
Yes. I can't believe you didn't. Now I got to pull it up.
Oh, I mean, the way they schedule Pac-12 games, I wouldn't be surprised if all the teams wanted to leave.
You don't get a lot of we need to be independent takes. I'll tell you that, especially from like a school like USC. Even so, okay, I'm just gonna. I retweeted this one, so I'm just gonna read it. Okay.
Okay.
So my two off-season rants this year will be one, USC ending the lifetime ban of Reggie Bush, and two, a push for going independent. Making 20 million less than Rutgers, horrible schedules and refs equals why do you need the Pac-12? Trojans don't explore independence.
Hey, I like both those things. I feel like we talked about letting Reggie Bush back in before on here, so I'm okay with that. And
I mean,
he's
you know
right.
what?
The Pac-12's a joke.
Well, he made a good point earlier. I thought about the Reggie Bush thing and like other sanctions. It's like other schools have gotten hit a lot less for things they did to improve their program.
Every school, actually, get it right. Every
Okay,
school.
every school. I haven't really thought about it, but every school, that's what happens, right? Or to improve their situation or to cut corners in some way. Where USC got hit hard for an agent trying to get Reggie Bush to leave school. It benefited no one except for Reggie Bush.
Yep.
Like it didn't benefit USC in any way because he was already there. He was always going. So
No, I know. Yeah.
you do know, and
It's
I
just
thought that was a good point.
it's just because the Trojans didn't cooperate with the investigation, and the NCAA wanted to show how powerful they were, and boom, Sanction City. Ole Miss can pay their players whatever the hell they did, and no big deal. Not sanctions not as hard. Great,
Let's
super
see.
fair. Thanks NCAA.
He's talking about here pairing up with UCLA to join another conference. Let's see.
I mean, if you watched the Pac-12 title game, you know that the refs were on TV more than Sam Darnold.
Yes. He was
It was replay after replay after replay.
He's very angry that USC was ranked 8th.
What should they have been ranked?
He wanted them in the top 6. He basically is saying, like, why are they behind 3-loss Auburn?
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
Well, here's the thing with that. I don't really care. Like, Auburn beat 2 of the playoff teams. And one of the playoff teams, they lost 14-6 on the road. So, I mean, it's like I kind of get it. Like they proved themselves worthy of being a good team. When they lost to LSU also, who we're going to talk a little bit about later. But it's weird how they valued, like the committee valued the better record when comparing Alabama to Ohio State, but then didn't value the better record when comparing Auburn and USC. Not that it really matters because it doesn't, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it doesn't really matter.
It's just a seeding, but like that's just kind of a contradiction. And I know it's like the committee pointed to the blowout loss by Ohio State, which is what did them in, but
yeah, Alabama lost to Auburn. Like Ohio State lost to
the problem with the committee just in general is it's people who at the end of the day they just decide like we just think Alabama's better. And that's pretty much what it comes down to.
Yeah.
We just think they're better, so they're going to be in it. And just on principle, we don't think a team lost by 31 should be in the playoff, basically, is what it is.
And the Big Ten's weak.
Right, but it's like, what metric are you going by? Like, how are you looking at this? Like, every year it's different. And that's why I like the BCS with the computers, because at least I knew there was stats involved and that they played a role. Right.
But one of the Yahoos on the ESPN show loved the fact that it was people and it was different every year. Like he was all about it. He couldn't have been more in the bag.
That's why I don't watch
the playoff committee.
That's why I don't watch it.
You actually said the opposite of everything you just said.
Of course, because that's what that is for, right? Like,
right.
You put someone on to just take these positions, and everyone, and I'm sure there was someone on there who took the same position as me. I don't need to watch it. They're weird. Anyway, what are we even talking about?
I don't know. We talk about Pac-12. Talk about how the Pac-12 is a joke.
Pac-12. It's Pac-12 is a joke.
It is
I
a
mean,
joke.
how can you let one of your premier? How can you let the premier program in your conference go 12 straight weeks without a bye, then have them play one time on a short week on the road, which is a game they end up losing, that ends up costing your conference a chance at the in the playoff?
Yeah.
That costs everyone money.
The SEC would never do that.
They would never. They would not. I saw another tweet today. Some guy was like, maybe if USC replaced Notre Dame with Mercer, they would have gotten in. Like we wouldn't even be arguing about this. And I was well, that's a little.
It's 100% true, but not the point.
Well, that's not how you do those things. Like, first of all, you don't replace your good teams with Mercer, right? Like, you would replace Western Michigan with Mercer. Like, what's the difference? Plus, it's like, yeah, maybe that's probably true. If Notre Dame like replace Miami with Florida State, and Notre Dame is probably in the playoff too. So it's like, as long as we're changing things and making, the way things are, not the way they are, then yeah. I mean, everyone could be undefeated with that little game.
But that's what those SEC teams do. I think that's the point of the tweet.
But the SEC, like look at Alabama, right? Like, what's the difference? What's the difference between you schedule a team like Florida State, and look, Florida State ended up bad, but they were like number 3 preseason.
Well, that's because Alabama hurt their quarterback.
Right. Like they were number 3 preseason, right? So that's scheduling up. That's a big time game. Like, what's the difference between, like, what's more likely to hurt Alabama? Playing Florida State and Mercer, or playing, like, I don't know, Maryland and Texas there? Like, where are they more likely to fall? They're more likely to fall in the Florida State scenario, because you play one good team that can beat you. Like, Maryland and Texas can't beat Alabama. So,
I believe there was a stat that Alabama hasn't lost to a unranked opponent. They're 75-0 in their last 75 games. I think that's what it was, which is pretty good.
It is good. I mean, they got lucky because they didn't have to play Georgia in the regular season. Like, a bunch of teams were down. Like, A&M was down. So,
hey,
they got lucky and unlucky. Well, I mean, you can't say they got unlucky because they made the playoff. So
that's true.
Without ever actually having to beat a good team, like a really good team.
Yeah, no, you're right. They're right. Good for Alabama.
Good for Alabama.
We're Pac-12. Pac-12 is a joke. I just can't believe Stanford was ranked so high after they lost to USC.
I think that I wonder if the committee looks at it like they really only have one loss, or 3 losses instead of 4, because they had to play USC twice.
Since they can't beat USC.
Yeah, like, maybe they're just like, it's all the same to us, like 3 or 4, because they're still ranked ahead of Notre Dame.
That's true. Like, this team's better than that. Yeah, I guess that's probably what happened.
They lost to San Diego State, though.
But that's back when San Diego State was kind of good.
What does that even mean?
Well, they were ranked.
Yeah, but back when they were good, like, they're not good now.
I don't know. Maybe people got hurt. I don't follow San Diego State football.
Maybe they do, but it's like, does Alabama get credit for beating number 3 Florida State? No.
No, they said they do, because this was on the show that you didn't watch. Because what's his face? Ricky Jean Francois, or no? What's the quarterback's name?
Francois. I know you're talking
about. Because he was there, so they said the committee took that into account. That's what someone said on the studio show.
But he got hurt.
I know.
I guess it was late.
Yeah. The game was still close. So they said they take into account injuries and who was playing.
I don't know. I think that's a little...
That's what they said.
That's a little shaky. Like, a lot of teams have lost their quarterback. I mean, A lot of teams have lost their quarterback, and they didn't completely fall apart. I mean, that
Oh,
to me is a little bit
speaking of injuries, I'll bring this back to the Pac-12 title game. I sent you
okay.
this text during the game. I saw this somewhere else in the next day. I was a little upset because I thought I'd be one of the few people with this take. But watching Bryce Love hobble around on the Pac-12 on the San Francisco 49ers field was kind of I don't want to say disturbing, but it didn't feel right. It's like,
Right.
hey, this guy can barely move. If he gets hit low, he has to like stumble off the field. If he gets hit too hard, he winces in pain and drops the ball. Like it was just really uncomfortable to watch this kid, just trot this kid out there because you're trying to win some dumb football game. It's like who's in charge? Everyone talks about David Shaw being such a great coach. It's like, yo, if you're such a good coach, how about you not destroy this kid's foot? And just I know he wants to be out there, and I'm in the heat of the battle. Like I hate using war analogies for football games, but in the
Well,
heat of
I mean, it's a physical struggle, right? I
yeah,
mean, you're putting your body and physical. You're in harm's way. You are.
yeah, and all these guys are probably already dinged up anyways. Like I get it. Like everyone's trying their hardest to give max effort under
If,
these conditions, but
but if you can't, if you're having
yeah,
trouble just walking, like I agree with you. Like at some point, it's like you gave him 20 carries against Notre Dame. Like, come on, like that's ridiculous.
yeah, in a game that didn't matter. Like
Uh,
what you weren't ever gonna make the playoff.
exactly, and like look at that in light of the fact that like Christian McCaffrey last year is just like sitting out bowl games, right? And it's like, oh, it's totally fine because the game doesn't matter. Well, the game against Notre Dame didn't matter. Like for them, that was an exhibition.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah, it was just real uncomfortable watching Bryce Love hobble around the field. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was so hurt. I didn't, this is 2017, man. This isn't go win for the Gipper era.
This is not Junction Boys.
Yeah, yeah, we don't need that.
Mm-mm.
Um, what was I gonna say? Let me think of something. Oh, I wonder. You said mentioning McCaffrey, and this thought crept into my head this morning. I wonder if somebody no shows for USC for the bowl game.
Hmm. Who would
Like
it
if
be?
I'm Ronald Jones, what's the point of me being out there?
Ronald Jones, huh?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I got to run behind this crappy offensive line with these dumb plays that dive me right, right into linebackers every time.
Yeah, see, it's the Cotton Bowl. You're not sitting the Cotton Bowl.
And he's from Texas, so
No, he's not. He's from Florida.
Ronald Jones is from Texas.
Is that true?
That is true.
Darn it! Now I have to look it up.
You don't even need to. I know that one.
Really?
Yeah.
You stole him from Texas?
Mm-hmm. Akasa Jaguar also from Texas.
He is from McKinney, Texas. That is correct. Good on you. Good on you, sir.
So yeah. So
Yeah,
he'll
he's
show up.
definitely playing.
He's definitely playing in the Jerry Dome or wherever it is now. All
I
right,
think
that's
I
one less
think
thing to worry about. Was
I
Cam
think
Smith play? I don't know. He's probably hurt. He's a linebacker.
they're all gonna play. It's the Cotton Bowl.
What if Darnold doesn't play?
Oh, that's awesome.
He's like, Coach, I'm foregoing the bowl game.
I think Jack Jones. I think Jack Jones should not play, and then just say it's because he needs to get ready to. He doesn't want to jeopardize his two-way season next year. He's gonna go both ways.
Coach, I'm going both ways next season. I'm going to win
That's
the
what I
Heisman.
want.
That'd
That's
be
what I
great
want.
if players on the team who are coming back just stop playing in bowl games.
Yeah.
What would coaches do? Just,
Well, I mean, I think I brought it up last year. Like, why should any of them? Like, if you're a guy who's like set to be okay, so let's say you're Dexter Williams from Notre Dame, or no, let's say you're we'll keep it on USC because that's who we're talking about. Let's say you're Stephen Carr, already been banged up this year, already had a few injuries. Like, Ronald Jones is leaving. You're gonna be the bell cow next year. Like, I don't want to tear up my knee. This is my opportunity coming up. Some exhibition game, right?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. But I mean, it makes a little too much sense though. I mean, these guys are there to play a football game. Like look at
No, they
Bryce Love.
want to play. Of course they
Yeah,
do.
they
Of
want to
course
play.
they want to play. I mean, that's the point.
Yeah, it's only if you're leaving. I feel like, and then your teammates would hate you too. It'd be a very unpopular
I
decision.
don't know. It's weird. Like, look, we say that like, oh, it's ridiculous, but like 5 years ago, it would have been insane for someone to sit out a bowl game, whatever bowl game. It just never came up.
And
So,
now we're just waiting for to hear the list.
and now it's like, I wonder if Ronald Jones just doesn't want to play. Like now you speculate. I mean, Brian Kelly got asked about it today. Is anyone not going to play?
Who
So
wouldn't? Josh Adams maybe.
I could see Josh Adams not playing. I mean, it's like it's always a skill position, right?
Yeah, the lineman wouldn't do it.
But yeah, like if Quentin Nelson was like, dude, I'm all set.
Coach, a little banged up. Sorry.
Yeah, like I've given everything I can. You guys can figure it out.
Well, this is a good time to mention Greg's annual, talking point for your holiday parties. Red shirts should be allowed to play in bowl games.
They absolutely should. 100%
It
correct.
should not burn your red shirt if you play in a bowl game.
It should not. Especially, yeah, like especially in this one for Notre Dame. Like if you've got a guy who can probably contribute or help, or like you want to give him some reps or something like that, and you're in one of these bowl games, like why not? Just let him have it. Let him have it.
Or you got a senior who's like 1 foot out the door and kind of like dogging it through practice because bowl games don't matter.
Yeah.
Put in the freshman.
Put in
See
the
what
freshman
happens.
kid. Yeah. See what you got.
So yes, red shirt should be allowed to play, or freshmen should be allowed to play in bowl games and not burn their red shirt.
Mm-hmm.
That's a policy of the Tilting Ground Untitled Notre Dame USC football podcast.
That is correct. That is our official stance.
You know what else I didn't get? I got so heated about USC not making the college football playoff. I forgot to get heated about USC special teams. Sorry, sorry, my weekly rant against USC special teams didn't take place yet. The punt return team was terrible again in the Pac-12 title game.
Daniel Jeremiah, the NFL scout, he sent out a tweet just like the worst. That was what he said. USC special teams are the worst, I believe.
Hey, factually correct.
Paraphrasing.
It's not even subjective at this point. I think what was it? Ajini Harris muffed one, and then he let one roll like to the 5. The punter on the biggest punt of the game kicked it like 30 yards, maybe. What else happened? There was another one. There was another bad one where they let it roll for a while. So USC players not good at diving on loose balls. They just like to celebrate or not pay attention or don't realize balls could be live.
Mm-hmm.
USC special teams players, however, guys on the punt return team, they want to dive on the ball all the time, even though they shouldn't. I don't know what's going on. Like Joe Lewis, was about to dove at one and just missed it, even though he shouldn't have touched it because if he touches it, it's live.
Right.
It's like, what are you doing, buddy? But Ajini Harris almost gets an interception on the lateral, watches the ball. Actually, he didn't even watch because his head was turned the other way. The ball kicks around on the ground for a little bit, and it's ruled a fumble. Bryce Love's dropping the ball all over the place. No one can fall on it.
I've got some bad news for you.
Tell me.
Your bowl opponent, they don't mess around with the special teams.
Ohio State, they're about special teams.
They are good.
But I mean, USC is so bad. Like, just not being terrible is
I know,
okay.
but like Ohio State, they will exploit the heck out of a team. I remember in 2015 that our Notre Dame special teams was pretty good that year, and Ohio State came in and just whipped on them, just in the special teams area. So those guys, man, Urban Meyer knows how to coach him some special teams.
Well, the Trojans don't.
Yeah. So that's not good.
So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Anything else in the Pac-12 title game that I want to get off my chest? USC backup quarterback Isaiah Langley is terrible,
He's
as Notre Dame fans could attest to.
he 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 needs to work on just how he looks out there. He just doesn't.
I think he knows he's not good. Might be the problem.
It just looks like there's no way you're a good player, man.
And if you're a USC corner, you get to hold. So like, I don't understand.
Correct.
You got advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Like your coach doesn't get mad if you're just mugging receivers down the field.
Mm. He just, he just doesn't. He needs that. Like, you think he's like too much fake confidence? Like Ronald Jones, right? He has so much confidence that he like talks himself into being probably better than he is. You think Isaiah Langley, like he's?
You meant Jack Jones, but
What did I say?
you said Ronald.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, Jack Jones. I would never. Ronald Jones should feel as confident as he wants because
His
he's
confidence level is earned.
Yes, exactly.
Jack Jones, not so much.
Jack Jones. Well, I mean, it's like he makes a lot of plays, but it's like, dude, you're giving up plays all over the place too.
Not important to him.
But he doesn't remember any of them,
Yeah.
so that's good.
He's actually just waiting until he gets to play offense.
Yeah, Langley, he's just kind of, he's out there and he's trying to like. See, the thing is I think you touched on it. He's trying to do it right. Where it's like he knows what a penalty is, and he's trying to do it so that he's not committing a penalty. He wants to play it straight, and that's just not.
That's not how we do it at USC, buddy.
That's not how it happens.
You got a handsy mug, get in there.
Yeah, and then
Stanford,
and then just be incredulous every time the flag comes out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pull up Marcus Peters and just throw that thing right in the stands.
Yeah, how dare you?
Uncalled for.
Yeah, how dare you even think it, sir?
He's a Pac-12 player.
Got kicked off his team. Shocking, a guy who got kicked off his college team is throwing flags in the stands in the pros.
It happens. Let's see. Darnold saved USC again. He hit Michael Pittman on the biggest drive of the game. So, Michael Pittman, welcome to the big stage. Darnold, do it again. That's pretty much the sum up for the Pac-12 title game. More of the same for USC. More of the same.
So, how do you feel about your bowl opponent?
I think I said a week or two ago that I think SC could beat Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm okay. I'm okay with it. They have some weaknesses. I don't quite know what they are at the moment, but they lost to Iowa, lost to Oklahoma.
Their weaknesses are inconsistency.
Yeah,
like they will go through stretches where they look like 95 Nebraska. And then they'll have some, like, Barrett will make some throws that are like, dude, like, is this your first time playing quarterback or what? Like, like he threw a couple interceptions that are like, dude, what are you doing? Like, what is that? Like, that's some Brandon Wimbush trash right there. So yeah, like the throw that gave the ball back to Wisconsin. Like, he's got the back wide open in the flat, and he throws it in the freaking ground.
That's his feet. It's like, what are you doing?
Score a touchdown. It's like for the game.
Give him a chance at least.
Exactly. And this guy's playing his like 90th start.
He's like the Big Ten pass touchdown record holder, right?
He's a pass touchdown record holder, and he's also like adjunct professor for the university. Like, he's out there, like, yeah, like he's also a grad assistant somehow.
I think Ohio State opened as a 7-point favorite. I think I saw that today.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow. Here's the thing.
Ohio State's probably a public team.
Here's the thing, Michael. Well, USC isn't.
No. People hate USC.
I think people hate Ohio State too, buddy.
That's true.
Here's the thing.
Look, I'm talking myself into this thing. Don't ruin it for me.
Here's the thing, Michael. It's kind of hard to get away from too. Urban Meyer v. Clay Helton.
Yeah, that's a
It's
mismatch.
it's a mismatch. It is, and like nothing against Clay Helton, like he's trashy, but like Urban Meyer, like he wipes the floor with people like Brian Kelly.
Yeah, Urban's a real coach.
He is correct. So
Clay Helton, not so much.
yeah, like he. I mean, the guy who outdid Nick Saban in a game that matters recently. That's he's a serious person.
Yeah.
So
So it's USC Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, December 29th. That's a Friday, everyone. That's a Friday.
how do you feel about that?
Um, I don't know. I guess I don't have one less game to watch New Year's Day. I can kind of cruise around the channels a little more freely.
Well, the way they do it now, it's easy to watch the games
Well, that's
now.
true, huh? They stagger everything.
Yeah, because they only have like four,
Dumb.
and one of them's a weenie game. So you have Notre Dame at 10, Rose Bowl at 2, and then the other game at 5:30.
I will say I do like that the Pac-12 and the Big Ten are playing each other. That was kind of nice of the bowl committee to give us a
Yeah,
fake Rose Bowl.
yeah, yeah. They deserve it.
This is the first time USC has played Ohio State not in the Horseshoe, the Coliseum, or the Rose Bowl.
Huh. That makes sense.
I mean, fun fact.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what about Notre Dame? Who did Notre Dame pull for their bowl game?
They pulled number 17 LSU in the Citrus Bowl.
That's in beautiful Orlando.
Orlando, Florida, to be played January 1st. So, little Ed Orgeron in our lives.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Ed Orgeron.
Mm-hmm.
We just can't shake him.
Nope.
He keeps popping up like a bad penny.
So I'm pretty fired up about the New Year's Day part of this. I just like playing on New Year's Day.
Yeah, it makes it more important.
I just like it. It's just a cool thing. New Year's Day, it's to me, it still has a little bit of you know,
It's bowl
mystique.
games. It's when it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, but it's like like it was that or the Camping World Bowl, and it's like that's fine, whatever. Like people get mad about the name of it. It's like, oh, we're gonna play in the Camping World Bowl. It's like, okay, well, you're gonna play a good team. It's not like they're playing Virginia or something. It's like they were gonna play like Oklahoma State or something, which I really didn't want, by the way. Um,
This seems like a suitable opponent for Notre Dame.
who LSU?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're like Georgia light, basically.
pretty much. Perfect. Perfect,
Yeah,
perfect analogy.
like they're a little bit worse in every way. So, but still good. So,
So I mean, we'll get into the bowl games in about 2 weeks.
well, I just wanted to talk about Notre Dame a little bit
Yeah, yeah.
because I was thinking a lot this week about the season, just kind
The
of taking
wasted
it all
season.
in. Well, yeah, kind of wasted. Yeah, because here's the thing. Because I was watching Georgia and Auburn.
Not score against Auburn.
Well, they did score against Auburn. What are you
Only
talking about?
once.
They won 28-7.
Oh, I was doing it backwards in my head. I'm sorry.
Oh, you mean Notre Dame?
No, Auburn. Auburn only scored once.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I flipped the teams there in my head. It's
Okay.
getting late.
Yeah, so I'm watching those two teams play. And I'm thinking to myself, the difference between Notre Dame and Georgia now is their quarterback can make the throws that he needs to make in order to make their running in order to keep things opened up for their running game.
And this is Georgia's quarterback.
Yes. And basically, I mean, that's the difference. The two teams are pretty similar. Like they're very similar. And it makes sense. Like that's why it was 20-19 when they played. But it's like their guy, because I was looking at their stats, right? Like passing stats and their receivers. Like their receivers have very similar stats to Notre Dame's receivers. Like their top receiver has 38 catches and St. Brown has 31. But all the way down the line, like the second receiver, third receiver, they all have about the same amount of catches and yards. And Georgia has a few more touchdowns. But the difference is they did all of that on about like 100 less attempts. So they were much more efficient. And I think like that's what cost Notre Dame this year. Because I thought a lot about why things were so much different, in the middle of the year with USC and NC State than they were, in November. And the thing about the way Miami played Notre Dame and the way Stanford played Notre Dame is USC and NC State and Michigan State and all those other teams, like they didn't play them defensively the way that those other teams did, because those other teams figured out like, oh, this Wimbush kid, they can't count on him to make the throws that he needs to make consistently. So we're not even going to bother with it. We're not going to respect any of their passing game. And it's like, if they want to go ahead and let him throw the ball to us, then that's perfect. Let them go ahead and do that. And it was his inability to just do like basic stuff. And like he finished the year as less than a 50% passer.
Yikes.
With a running game, they ran for 3,300 yards as a team.
That's a lot.
You have a running game like that, and you're not a 50% passer. Like, that's impossible. You just can't do like that. That's hard to do. And there are so many times when it's like he has wide open receivers. Like I was saying before, like if I was good with video, I would put together a video clip of all the missed bombs, the missed big plays of wide open people just running free in the secondary.
It would just make you sad.
He never completed one of them. Like I can't, like it almost never happened. And it just, I mean, at the end of the day, like it hurt him. Like it allowed teams.
Shocking, right?
Yeah, like it allowed teams to play Notre Dame a certain way, and it caught up to him. And to me, that was the difference. Like if he was a 64% passer, Notre Dame is a playoff team because they have to play him totally different. So it's like, and so then that like makes me think of like Brian Kelly, right? What kind of coaching job did he do, right? Because it's like one thing for me to say like, oh, you need to find a way to win. It was like I said about the Miami game. Like I was so frustrated by the way they called the Miami game. They called the Miami game like they did the Michigan State game, where they were able to throw the ball, where he was 14 of 20, and he was clean. And so they called the Miami game the same way. Obviously, against Miami, like he was a lot worse. He was a lot more unsure of himself. And, that showed in the way the game went. And then the Stanford game, they were completely like they were conservative in that game. So it's like, am I going to blame Brian Kelly? Like on the one hand, you have your quarterback. This is his third season, like in your program. So why isn't he better? Why isn't his technique better? Why isn't his form better? Why aren't his mechanics better? Like that's your job, right?
Didn't you see this in practice? Didn't you?
Yeah, like why aren't you
There's some
developing?
workshopping you could do.
And so there's that, but then there's also like the fact of like, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? They must know we have these plays that we can use. We have these players that we can use if our quarterback could just throw a slant route.
But he can't.
But he can't. If he could just throw a dig route. So it's like, how do I call a game when the thing I need to do to exploit this defense I can't do because I can't count on my quarterback? So it's like, I don't know. It is a missed opportunity just because of the running game and because of what you had there, but they didn't have a quarterback that could exploit it. They didn't have a quarterback who was like, okay, I can take advantage of my running game through the air this way. And they couldn't do it. So
it's just frustrating for you.
It's too bad because they were good. They were good. When teams had to play them straight, they were solid. They were a really good team. But then teams figured out, like, oh, we don't have to play them straight. So, and then
everything fell apart.
Because look, they were up 20-17 against Stanford in the fourth quarter. They were.
They were.
It's not like look, the Miami game, like, they took a dump, but against Stanford,
that's like a one-off kind of thing.
Yeah, like against Stanford, they were playing fine on defense. They
were in a position to succeed, and then they weren't.
And they had plenty of opportunities on offense.
Even against Georgia, I mean, they were winning the whole game, right?
Not the whole game, but for most of it. They led for longer than Georgia did. Let's put it like that. A lot longer.
And they had the ball in the fourth quarter.
Twice. They had the ball twice to take the lead in the fourth quarter. And they did not. So.
Wasted seasons all the way around.
But here's the thing.
Uh-oh.
It's not a wasted season if they're building on something. Right? Because no one expected. For you, it's a wasted season because, look, you have a guy who's going to go, like, in the top 10 at quarterback. With Notre Dame, like, Brandon Wimbush is not going to the top 10 of anything. No. So
he might not be the starter next year.
Yeah, there's no way he's not. I mean, he'd have to get hurt. You can't.
Just teasing you. But.
I know, but people, that's a real conversation in Notre Dame circles. That's the thing. I know you're teasing, but that's a real thing that people are talking about. And you can't take a guy who can run for 800 yards and just sit him down when the backup, look, Ian Book is fine. He didn't play that great. And I know people like the freshman coming in, Phil Dracovic, but he'd have to be so much better as a passer to make up for the fact that Brandon Wimbush can just improvise a play for 65 yards. I mean, this is college football. Like, that's a real weapon. But yeah, like, are they building something? Because, like, when has Notre Dame last had, and like Brian Kelly, he's never had back-to-back great seasons. Or even good seasons. It's never happened.
No.
So that's the thing. Like, I can look at this season as like, yeah, like, there's a lot to build on. Like, they have a lot coming back, and they have a lot, they have a lot of talent coming back. They have a good offensive line. They have their quarterback. The defensive line is good. They have a lot of people coming back, but, like, are they building something, or what are they doing?
Just spinning their wheels.
Yeah, because if they're spinning their wheels, then I don't care about what happened this year.
All right. I think that's as good a place to end to leave it.
Okay.
We got 2 weeks to fill before we get to bowl previews. I'm sure someone will be ineligible. Someone will get hurt. Someone will do something stupid.
Yeah, I got to learn about LSU now.
Yeah, I got to learn about Ohio State.
I can tell you a lot about Ohio State.
I watched that in the Big Ten, so that's a pastime of mine. So hopefully,
so I've got a couple. I got more than a few. Ohio State friends. So
Who enjoy the Scarlet.
I don't know who to root for because usually I root against Ohio State pretty
Well, you
vehemently.
hate Urban Meyer. I mean, let's get that out there right
Urban
now.
Meyer is not my friend. He's hurt my feelings more than once, and he could have gone to Notre Dame, and he did not.
Yeah.
So, not a
I
good
mean,
guy.
Clay Helton's just out there having a good old time,
He is
just just winging it.
Clay Helton. Yeah. He probably can't believe he's even in this position. It's funny.
No, no. I think I could have. I saw this on Scott Wolf had this one up, so I don't know how true it was. But Helton said the team overachieved.
What team
The USC Trojans.
in football?
Yeah, this year.
Come on, man.
I know. Because
Come
they
on,
didn't have
man.
anything going today. It was like one of the like just his quick talking points for Sunday morning.
It's an interesting matchup because USC almost never plays a team that has as much, if not more, talent than them.
I don't think historically Clay Helton has a good record against higher ranked opponents. So that might be a problem.
I mean, there's higher ranked, and then there's like when there's a talent, like just when the team gets off the bus, like they got some dudes, you know,
Yeah.
and like the USC is almost never in that position, so it's interesting.
Especially this year.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the best team they've played is probably Notre Dame still,
Oh, no question. Yeah,
which is crazy.
just from like a recruiting standpoint, and it's like Notre Dame is not as talented as them. I mean, you just look at the recruiting rankings. I mean, it is what it is. USC has a lot more 4 and 5 stars especially than Notre Dame does.
Oh yeah.
So, but hey, they overachieved, so good on them.
Good on them. Good on them.
We overachieved.
So you can find. I'm sure Greg will have some stuff up between now and the bowl game on uhnd.com.
I will.
Follow him on Twitter. Follow us on wherever you find podcasts. Subscribe, write comments, all that good stuff. I think that's it, Greg. And until next week, fight on.
Go Irish!